Welcome to the French Press Podcast. It is episode 513.
And it's
Tuesday, April 8th, 2025.
Are we recording on the video?
we are. We've started several seconds ago.
All right.
Ooh.
So today I wanted to, months ago, Kyle came on the podcast to talk about investing. He has a passion for it. And I decided I'm going to do what he did. I'm going to look at my mutual funds and compare them to the S&P 500.
Yeah.
So we have some mind-blowing results from that.
Yeah.
Something else that I had asked you guys for feedback on during that time was what stock trading platform or personal stock management platform do you recommend, do you use? And I feel like now I actually have a good recommendation for you. I didn't get it from Jeff, who I was hoping. I didn't get it from Leighton, who I was hoping. I didn't get it from Nicholas.
No.
I didn't listen to the episode, but
Well, it wasn't. I think I
have
just
a
asked you.
recommendation, but
I just asked you, I think,
okay.
in the real life, Jeff.
That's right.
And I did not get a good answer. Or maybe I forgot to ask. Maybe that's why I didn't get a good answer.
I don't know.
It could have been that you were gone when I brought it up. So I do want to discuss that a little bit too, and you can give your feedback.
Yeah, I have feedback on that.
And then another list of questions I had as we look back over the year, which I know now we're 4 months in. But what is something that you were proud of accomplishing in the last year? So think about that a little bit, and then we'll get to that if we have time. But first, let me tell you about our sponsor for this episode. It is Touchdown Tech.
Again?
If you need a custom website built, there is no better place in northern Indiana than Touchdown Tech.
No, Reuben, you're underselling yourself. There's no better place in the world.
Well, thank you. I actually believe that. At least if you're looking for a website that is scalable and maintainable.
Yeah.
A lot of websites out there, they might look great, but a lot of them are coded subpar.
Yeah.
Which one of the drawbacks of that is that the layout will break depending if you add more content to it. Like you might have
This is good.
You might
Good
have
to hear.
a grid of products.
Yeah.
And if you go to add another one, it might break the layout depending how it's
Wow.
coded. Because
Yeah.
a lot of websites are developed where they just handle what's already there.
Yeah.
But what I try to do is make a layout that's going to be unbreakable. It's going to handle additional rows of products or additional columns of products.
Yeah.
That's just one example. There's some other examples too about making unbreakable layouts. One is if you have like an image and text on the right and then they flip-flop back and forth as they go down the page. Well, a lot of people will, in the HTML, they will have an image first and then text first and then the image to get that flip-flopping effect.
Yeah.
But that's not really the best way to do it for several reasons. One is as a screen reader goes to the page, it's much better for consistency if you have the same order of things, like either image and then text or text and then image versus flip-flopping back and forth. And the big downside is that if you go and insert a new section in there,
Yeah.
you will then have to go manually change every
Change
subsection
all of them. Yeah.
because now
Right.
they're out of order.
Right.
So there's a way to develop it where it automatically flip-flops back and forth.
Are you a master at CSS?
I there is so much CSS. No, I would not call myself a master, but I am a master's apprentice. So I'm on my way to becoming a master CSS wizard.
CSS Zen Garden is one of the most impressive websites I've ever seen as far as web development goes. There is so much that you can do. Excuse me. The premise of it is that it contains the same HTML. Every version of it contains the same HTML, but different CSS.
Wow.
And people you can make your own version of it. It's free. You can submit your own version, but there are some incredibly interesting ways and looking at the different layouts that people have created and how they look so different from each other, and then knowing that the code for the page itself is identical across the pages. It's amazing.
Wow, I have not heard of that, but it sounds very interesting. I did want to give one other part that I do believe helps Touchdown Tech stand apart is the messaging that we're going to put on your website. Just having a website that's coded well and that's scalable doesn't mean that it's going to attract visitors or persuade them, to take action.
You mean words matter?
Words do matter, Jeff. So, and what we do is we try to speak to your customers' problem and their pain. We're not going to try to make you as a company sound great and majestic and amazing, because your customers don't really care about that. They care about themselves and solving their problem.
What?
So the messaging on your
Self-centered
website
customers
is going to be about self-centered customers. Anyway, so if you want a website, right now we're booked out for a few months, but if you want to get in touch, go over to touchdowntech.com. You can fill out the contact form or send me a text message. Right now it's about 3 months out, but it'll probably continue that way. So if you are thinking about a website, then definitely let us know.
Yeah, good deal.
So that is it for that.
Guys, we are...
That was the longest sponsor I've ever heard.
Do we get paid extra for that one?
Goodness.
That was a little long. But you got some bonus. You got a
did.
bonus website
Bonus.
tip from Jeff. That was
Yep.
interesting.
We did. We're loaded with content. Unfortunately, the content load is from other sources who are not here on this podcast today. We've got stories lined up for days. We still have our guests that had to reschedule so many times. Hopefully, we will get them on here one of these days.
Don't even say days, Jeff. Just say one of these years.
One of these.
Yeah, literally.
We will have them on the podcast someday.
If the Lord tarries.
If the Lord tarries. Yes. Their story is amazing, and they are very interested in sharing it. It's just something is against us. We're not sure what. Anyways, we have Leighton has a friend who has a story. We have Nicholas has a friend who has a story. I have a friend who has a story, and my friend's story, he claims that it will rival the turtle story in craziness.
Okay, Jeff.
So go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, you're making big promises, Jeff.
Yeah.
When can we expect this? Is this another schedule it 5 times and in 5 years?
Well, I have to nail down a date with him. It's cousin brother-in-law Micah.
Oh, he's my cousin too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Your cousin, my brother-in-law.
Yeah. People that say that, I think that we did a podcast like several years ago.
Yeah.
I was not included so many years ago, but where people it messes up the story before they even say the story. Like people will say, "I don't have much to bring," or like, "This is going to be a great story."
Well,
and they say
it could be a total flop, but I will say I've heard part of the story.
Okay.
And
you think it's going to be good?
There were...
Give us a little tease, Jeff.
There were police involved.
Okay, that's good.
That's good. Yeah, that's always good.
There were...
So was the turtle story. So I'd say we're following the right, I don't know, formula, or we're hitting the right points.
How's the best way to say this without really ruining the story?
Did someone get hurt?
Nobody got hurt.
Physically?
But
emotionally, yes.
Somebody may or may not have gotten arrested.
Oh. That's good.
All right, that's a good tease.
That is.
All right, that sounds great. Can't wait to have them on. Let's move on and talk about this stock whole situation. This might sound boring, but I'm telling you, it's really interesting. I went back over, I downloaded my statement, and it had all of my mutual funds that I'm a part of, and I found this amazing website that lets you compare historical stock, mutual funds, indexes, including as if you were reinvesting into it.
I see. Yeah.
So if there's a stock split, you get that benefit.
I see.
Because sometimes when stocks split and you're just looking at the price, you don't have a accurate idea what the actual value would have been over time. And I'll find that website for you, because I spent a lot of time trying to find a website that would let me do this. Yeah. And it was hard. It was very hard to find.
I'm in the process of going through my IRA or actually 401k now, I guess, and seeing what my actual returns over the years have been. And I have shifted my strategies, partly from Kyle's advice, partly for some things I heard on my own as well. But I'm in the process of gathering actual data from my accounts, which have shifted over the years, and getting like statements and plugging them into a spreadsheet that helps me see actual return over time. God, I don't even know what I was invested in, 8-10 years ago. So
this website is called dqydj.com, and then they have different tools. So then if you click on calculators, you'll then find the calculators, and you can find an index return calculator, an individual stock, and the individual stock, I believe, is where you find the mutual fund calculator as well.
Okay. Well, there's a lot there.
They have a lot there.
It sounds like Dairy Queen, yes, Jesus did.
DQY.
YDJ.
DQYDJ.
Dairy Queen, yes, Jesus did.
Well, it's not
Go to Dairy Queen.
JD, it's DJ.
Yes, did Jesus.
But you put in your ticker, and you put in a starting amount, and then you have a start date and an end date. And I looked at my mutual funds, and I looked back as far as I could look with them, and then compared it to the S&P 500.
Yeah, sure.
So I've got 11 mutual funds. Only 2 beat out the S&P 500 over that same period. And they beat them out by a much smaller percent than what the S&P beat out the other 9 mutual funds.
I see.
Significantly. Wow. And that does not take into account the fees that come with a mutual fund.
Yeah. They always get you with the fees.
So this is when I saw this, I realized I believed I was irresponsible to continue staying invested in mutual funds. Like the way I'd been doing, it just felt irresponsible for me to do. So I'm slowly in the process of getting things migrated over to my own account that I can manage. And that brings up the next question. What platform should you use to manage your investments if you're doing your Roth on your own or your accounts like that? I have an opinion today.
What's your opinion?
But Jeff, go ahead. What's your thought and your opinion?
Well, I mean, just the plain ease of use, Robinhood seems like a great option. I don't know how it compares.
Do we have a buzzer?
We don't have it. We have this one.
We need a buzzer.
How about
that works.
So I don't know if I would trust it to actually manage an IRA and things like that. But for individual investing,
buying individual stocks and index funds.
Yeah, I think that it seems to be a pretty viable option. Their fees are fairly low. They do get money off of your trading, but it's not exactly clear how much they get. They don't charge a fee, but they make money based on the difference between when you agree to buy and what the actual price is, right? So if you would agree to buy a stock for $252, but the actual price might be $251, so they'll make $1 on that.
Interesting.
That's how they do it.
And then I did notice they have a pro subscription as well.
A gold subscription, yeah.
Okay.
The Robinhood Gold, if you're into using credit cards for rewards, the Robinhood Gold credit card is amazing. It's 3% cash back on everything.
Wow, that's better than Apple Card.
It's really good.
On everything.
So
I think really impressive.
I suspected when I was the company I had been with when I first started was TD Ameritrade.
Yep.
Actually, it used to be, I think maybe just Ameritrade, and then TD bought Ameritrade or merged with them, so then it was TD Ameritrade, and then within the last year, they were bought by Charles Schwab. Not affiliated with the World Economic Forum, totally, that's not the same Schwab. I was concerned about that, and I definitely would have switched if it would have been the same person.
Yeah.
But Charles Schwab is an old financial name.
Yeah.
Robinhood is a new name.
It is.
And you see their ads everywhere. I was kind of expecting that I would look at Robinhood and I would move everything over there. Because I just expected it's newer. Their platform is probably easier to use. However, when I went to, I told you Charles Schwab bought out TD Ameritrade. And when I went to kind of log in for the first time, I was expecting to spend an hour.
Yeah.
I actually put it off for a long time because I was it just really filleted me to do it.
Yeah.
And finally in Florida, on a Saturday, I decided I'm going to try to do it. It probably won't work because it's a Saturday.
Yep.
So, and I started the process, and I had to call them.
Okay.
So I call them expecting to get we're not working today. And lo and behold, immediately someone answered. I don't even think I was even put on hold.
Wow.
Someone answered, and they just had to verify a few quick things that I was able to do. I was probably off the phone it was just a few minutes. It was not long at all. I was shocked at how easy it was. Their customer service and just how easy it was.
They answered said, yeah, Reuben, what do you need?
Yeah, basically.
And you said, oh, hi, I need to add an account. We got you already, buddy.
Pretty much. And then Nicholas,
That's right.
this is now a few months later, Nicholas is trying to move some money from his
Old
work IRA that was saved there.
Yeah.
And he had started moving it over to Edward Jones, where he has some other accounts managed. And then when we were talking with Kyle, decided to kind of just do it on his own.
Yeah.
And so, Nicholas, you had a Robinhood account, right?
I did.
And what happened when you tried to migrate that money from wherever it was held into Robinhood?
First off, it was super confusing. Second of all, I tried doing it, and then it said that my account, what was the exact wording? I was oh, shoot.
It gave you an error, like you had to verify something, but then when you went to when you tried to follow the instructions, it just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
You even tried to contact them.
I did.
And that didn't work either.
I tried so it was so confusing and it was so hard. But I will say Robinhood is pretty easy if it's just like, like let's say like $1,000 here and there, like very little, like just like for fun more.
Sure.
And you're just like buying stocks and trading stocks, like with your personal account.
Yes. But transferring a IRA, it was so confusing. I couldn't even do it. I literally could not do it. So then I ended up with Charles Schwab, and it was perfect. Actually, I did have issues. I couldn't sign up, and so I called them, and they found out that when I went to sign in, I had tried to put my kid to bed in the middle of the process, and it like logged me out. But my thing was still in the process.
You're still in the process.
And so I was trying to go through it, but it didn't let me, and then it timed me out. And they said that they'll just like reset it. So it's very easy. Reset it, got in right away. And then I said, hey, I want to transfer a IRA into this, and they gave me said, here, you go into the old account, like your old account, and send this money to this address. And with this, it even had my account number already in it.
Wow.
It said, do this exact wording right here.
Yep.
Wow.
And I did that, and done. Like a week later, it was already in my account, all good to go. And
nice.
And you were buying index funds a couple days later.
I was.
Not bad.
It was so easy.
Yeah.
But I will say, though, Charles Schwab is very more, it's more towards the person that knows what they're doing with trading.
Oh, sure.
There's way more options in the trading process than there is in Robinhood. Robinhood is just like yes and no, buy or sell. It's like that's it.
Okay, and that makes sense. When you say Robinhood, they make their money off when you say you're going to buy it for this price, but it might be a little bit less than that.
Yeah,
because that's kind of surprising to hear that. Because normally you can say I want to buy it for. You can do market price.
Yeah,
but normally you can also say I want to buy it for this price.
Yes,
and then this is like you will not pay more than that.
Right. You can do that with Robinhood too.
Oh, you can.
You can do that. You can even do like trailing stop buys and sells.
Okay.
But how does that work? I think I'm not sure. I was unclear on this, but it feels to me like the actual price that they show is a little bit different than what the actual stock price is. Mm-hmm. Like the price they show might be a little bit off or delayed or something. I don't know exactly how that works.
Gotcha.
And they don't have to make a lot of money each time in order to recoup their fees. Mm-hmm. They are planning on starting a bank. Robinhood is.
Interesting. Okay.
So I don't know how that's going to go, but I'm interested because they have made it pretty easy to do some things, and I'm really interested to see what their banking situation is going to be like.
Yeah. If someone has a Robinhood account, I do not recommend you go and create a Charles Schwab account. But if you don't have anything, I was impressed with my Charles Schwab experience.
Do they have like so you're using it to manage IRA? How do they do for just like normal investing, like day-to-day investing?
My IRA is not in there yet. So right now it's just my single, just like a normal investment account.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even know if you'd call it an investment account. It's just an account that was from TD Ameritrade. And I'm assuming when my Roth is in there, I'll just like choose which one I want, and then I can buy different funds or stocks that I want to. Mm-hmm. with that.
Something to note is that even if you have like a fully managed account like we do at work at PWI, you are able to almost always, I would say, go in and actually change where your money is going. Like you can choose what accounts. Now they might have a limited amount of accounts that you can do, and you definitely can't
like funds.
Yeah, you definitely can't do individual stocks like you could with a self-managed account.
Yeah.
But you can totally go in there and change how much percent goes into each one.
Yeah.
On a regular basis. So I was able to do that on my 401k and get it into index funds.
Okay. If you, brother-in-law Eric did a lot of research on 6 different, he ended up with 6 different index funds that he would recommend. One is the S&P 500, and then there's 5 other ones. So if you'd be interested in hearing that or seeing that list, I actually just wrote down what they are. And so if you want to comment on the post, and I'll send it to you.
We should have Eric on here
to talk about it.
Yeah, to talk about Charles Schwab and what he does.
Yeah, because Eric, he told me something about an UTMA, which is you can set up an investment account for your child.
Oh, yeah.
And then they do get it when they're of age, so 21 years old. But you can do that also, and you don't have to have you don't have to go through Edward Jones or through a bank. You can do it yourself through your own personal Charles Schwab, and I'm sure you can do it with Robinhood as well.
It's smart to do this because I have a not very much. It's only $250 for my son Noah, and guess how much he returned? It's a savings account. Guess how much he returned in 1 year
At a bank?
At like Citibank?
Probably
14 cents.
50 cents.
1 cent.
Oh,
No
wow.
way.
It's a bad year.
That's pretty bad.
It is bad stocks year, I understand, but it was. I mean, it's literally.
Well, at least it didn't go down.
Oh, yikes! I'd be concerned there.
Well, and the things you need to worry about that is even like depending what kind of account you have, you can get charged
Right.
like an inactive fee for those accounts that you don't do anything with.
Can you do savings though? Can they charge you for savings?
It probably
I feel like
depends.
I think there's some
different.
limitations on the savings, what they can charge you for savings, but yeah.
Anyways,
All right. Did anything come to mind thinking about the last year? What is something, or was there something that you're most proud of doing or accomplishing in 2024? And we might need to table this. We're a few minutes past 5. I don't know what time you need to be leaving, Jeff.
I'm good for another 10 minutes or so. For me, it was developing my first, along with my coworkers, developing our first Flutter app. And to those of you who are coders, you may know what that is. But it's basically, Flutter is a framework that you can use that develops, that you can use, and you write one code base that can be built out for web, for iOS, for Android, Mac OS, Windows, and you only need to manage one code base for all those platforms. Whereas traditional development would require different code to be written for each platform that's specific to that platform. And there's other ones, that do a similar thing, but Flutter seems to be a pretty good middle of the road choice for that kind of thing. So that was fun. It was a good accomplishment, I think.
so this Flutter app, you're saying that you used it to help other coders.
No, we built an internal application at work for use at PWI.
Oh no way!
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
So Nicholas, normally you'd have
Gotcha,
to
okay,
you'd have to
gotcha.
develop an app, the same app
For
like,
every
like
single-
like Robinhood.
Yes.
You'd have to
Yeah.
develop it for iPhone,
Yes.
for
Right.
Android, and with Flutter, it kind of pushes it out, or from that one code base.
It makes it for all
the system itself, the Flutter system will then convert it into code that is usable by each platform.
Okay.
Ideally with no need for modification. Now there are some cases where you need to modify it specifically for a certain platform, but that's a way smaller amount,
Cool.
For example, the AliExpress app is completely built in Flutter. So probably around 95 to 98% of their code is Flutter. And then they may have had to do a couple of things for specific devices or specific platform to make it work fully functionally on those.
Okay, very cool.
That's cool.
What about you, Nicholas? Did you think of anything?
Oh man. In 2024, let me think here. Man, I can't think of anything really.
Okay, Nicholas didn't do anything noteworthy in 2024.
There's things that I did, but they're not like super like that great, you know?
Yeah. I think there's two things that are rolling around in my mind. The one is work related, and the one is more like personal related. So the work related one is in 2024. I've been building websites for I think over 10 years now, and I have not really. Well, this isn't 100% true. I was going to say I haven't really successfully had a content marketing, not strategy, but a content marketing thing that really worked really, really well. And by that I mean like writing articles. That's primarily what I'm talking about. And in 2020, but that's not 100% true. There was some success at PWI over the years, but
sure.
Like I kind of view that differently because that is why like I was working there. Like I was an employee at PWI. And so this is like 2024 was the first time that I helped a client use content marketing and really like save their business in their own words.
Wow.
Or like close to their own words.
Yeah.
No, like they, yeah. I am joking. It wasn't, but it definitely did make a big difference as far as customers and then leads and then sales. But yeah, that strategy, and I don't know why it took this year or last year for it to like finally come into fruition and to happen. I think I finally got a better understanding what good content is.
Sure.
Whereas in the past, I probably was more focused on using more like tactics, which was like SEO tactics, like make sure the headline is right, make sure the keywords used a certain number of times. Whereas this year, I changed my approach to make it just as helpful and relevant and authentic as possible. So that's probably one of the things I'm most proud of doing. And it actually has allowed, like having that success is actually what has allowed hiring Nicholas.
I see.
Because
awesome.
he is now managing that content, and we're expanding it to other clients too. So yeah, I think that's from a business perspective, that's probably like the thing that I'm most like proud of and excited about from the last year. On a personal note, last year I do not like confrontation, and it is, I don't know. I think it takes quite a bit for me to confront someone.
Yeah.
And last year was probably like there was a moment of like major confrontation, and I'm not going to go into detail about it, but that was one of the things I'm also most proud of doing last year was not backing down. Like it's so easy just to step back and just let things go when. And I'm not saying you always like. I'm not encouraging to be confrontational. That's not what I'm trying to encourage or what I'm proud of. But there are moments when you need to be confrontational. Yeah. Things need to be addressed. And so that's another thing that I'm most proud of doing last year.
Oh, that's great.
Yep.
Did you think of anything, Nicholas?
I can't. I mean, I can't think off the top of my head right now anything like that level.
Well, it doesn't have to be like...
I know, but I can't. I literally, the only thing I can think of is like.
Did you learn how to ride a bicycle or how to?
Yeah, I did. Actually, you know what I want to do this year though, 2025.
What?
I want to write a book.
What?
A kid's book.
Oh.
I want to write a kid's book that is the kind of book.
That's not stupid.
Well, that too. No, the kind of book that brings back like old writers. You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean?
No, I don't.
Have you read like Richard Scarry's books?
Oh yeah, totally.
Or like Dr. Seuss. I'm not gonna use like Dr. Seuss, but
okay.
Like those books lasted like years.
Oh yeah.
Like they're still good today, you know? I want to write a book like that where it can last a lifetime.
You want a book that will last a lifetime.
And it's a good moral.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what
wow,
I wanna
that's
do.
a high bar.
I know.
It's a very high bar.
I've already come up with some ideas, but everything is like it's kind of like But I'm trying to do a Bible story. But use my sons in the story.
Yeah.
What if you have more sons?
Well, I'll just keep writing books then for your son. That's my goal for that's my goal for this year.
Hold it. Well, you need some milestones along the way, I think.
do,
Like,
yeah.
what do you...
Well, so I already have a lady that would my sister-in-law does like artsy stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
And so she said she already like do like the she would do like the pictures or what do you call it?
The art?
Yeah. I don't know what you
Yeah, the
call
artwork for it.
Yeah, artwork for it. And so I just need to come up with the actual story and
Okay.
Nice.
yeah. So
Nice.
Cool. Well, that's more ambitious, I think, than anything I have planned for this year.
anyways,
That's a high bar.
it is. I don't know if I'll actually pass. I'll actually do it, but I really want to. But we'll see.
I have an idea for a cookbook. I've always wanted to make a cookbook.
Oh, yeah.
And that idea has fallen a little bit by the wayside because my life is busy with other things right now. But I do have an idea for a cookbook that I would love to publish. It's not my official cookbook, but it's a cookbook.
Would you use only your recipes, or would you like other people's recipes as well?
Oh, I would actually totally use other people's recipes in any cookbook. Like,
Hey, I got a great cookbook for you to do if you're thinking about it. Is a cookbook for lots of people.
oh, like large crowds?
Yes.
There
Which I
are
don't know,
those.
Like, there's like very little of them.
I don't feel like I'd be a good person for that.
Oh, okay.
What I would like to do in my official cookbook is to have recipes that I've kind of created myself, mixed in with cultural recipes,
Oh,
like authentic tacos, authentic pupusas, like
So not-
like how to make sushi.
So not
you know.
cultural, like Amish Mennonite cultural.
No.
But just like whatever, like the sushi or the Mexican or...
yes, people from like other food that we eat that on a regular basis, like we eat Chinese food, we eat Japanese food, we eat
Yeah.
Mexican, but we don't eat authentic, right?
Yeah.
And so these are the recipes of people that people make in their homes on an everyday basis, and a little picture and a story about them and how it got, and actually learning how to make these things from that person.
That
I
is
like it, Jeff.
that's genius.
Yes, I think it's a great idea.
It's a
just
great idea.
It's a lot of work.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Cool. Well, it sounds like you guys have some high ambitions for the year. Well, I guess you're not
That's
committing
my,
to it.
That's not my ambition for this year.
Okay.
But it's a someday project.
Cool. All right. I think that's it.
Okay.
So, what is the point?
The point is that Nicholas hasn't done anything notable in the last year.
That's true. Oh.
Both of those were appropriate.
Yeah. No kidding.
The other point is,
The other point is, if you want, if you want to make more money, do it yourself.
What is that from? Oh, you mean from this
Charles
time?
Schwab's. No,
yeah.
that's not true. If you don't want to do it yourself, don't do it yourself. If it feels overwhelming, don't do it. It's not worth it. It's okay if you don't want more money.
It's all right if you want to pay 1%.
That's right. Is that 1.3?
Fee the rest of your life. I think it's about 1.
It's okay.
that's a lot.
That's a lot, though.
Yeah. All right. What's our word of the week?
Jeff.
Word of the week is Schwab.